The rematch was insane. Dmitry Bivol has just been crowned undisputed light heavyweight champion in a highly contested decision that really could have gone either way. But this is why Beterbiev versus Bivol 2 was not a robbery. Coming into this fight, a lot of people were looking to see what adjustments both guys would make, coming off of their first fight in which again it was a very close matchup. Both guys were going tooth and nail against each other, very close rounds. A lot of people arguing that Bivol did enough earlier in the rounds to secure them, and a lot of people saying that Beterbiev stole those rounds at the end and was able to win the fight, in which he did get the decision officially to become the undisputed light heavyweight champion. And that was a massive fight, to which they announced the rematch very quickly, and we saw still Beterbiev was very front-footed in this fight, was backing down Bivol a lot. His volume still really high, but this fight we definitely saw Bivol be very active, trying to contest with the volume of Beterbiev, and as well he was very sharp. He was starting to sit down on some of his punches more, and his combinations were just amazing. How accurate his combos were, and his style he just has complete mastery over. Defense, offense, it's just beautiful to watch what Dmitry Bivol can do in there, and that's why this fight is so great. These two are so elite, and it's just such a close fight each time they fight.
Yeah, in the rematch, Bivol was very disciplined. Early on into the fight, he started stronger. In the first fight, Beterbiev just had so much output. He was really just putting the pressure on Bivol, especially towards the later half of all those rounds. He started to steal them, and obviously he's the stronger guy. He has more power. So Bivol fought in both fights, to be fair, very disciplined behind a regimented jab, the combinations, but trying to outpoint Beterbiev, which he did a great job of in this second fight. Beterbiev started to settle in a little bit more towards those 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds, putting Bivol on the back foot, pressuring him with his own combinations, straight rights. But Bivol didn't get discouraged at any point. He just kept sticking to his game plan, staying disciplined, and landing very clean combinations. Just multiple punches, not just 1, 2, not just 3, 4, but 5, 6 punch combinations, which is really what started to cement these rounds for him. And they were all pretty close rounds. No one really dominated any round and completely destroyed the other one and hurt each other. Like, these two are some of the highest level guys, and Beterbiev usually hurts all of his opponents, but against Bivol he just wasn't able to. Bivol just fought a great fight. His defense was always on point. Yes, he got caught at many points by Beterbiev, and he was eating some big shots as well, but they were both always in this fight, and that's what makes it so great. But the term robbery does get thrown way too much in boxing. I didn't think the first fight was a robbery. I personally saw it as a draw, but just because I thought it was a draw doesn't mean that you couldn't give it to Beterbiev. At the end of the day, scoring is subjective. People see different things, and it was definitely fair to give Beterbiev that first fight, in my opinion, and Bivol did great work here in the second.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like a lot of the time when there is a very close fight, especially on this magnitude of attention and how skilled these guys both are, oftentimes people are very inclined to say right away it was a robbery. But a lot of the time, close fights, even though they are close and some guy edges it slightly over the other, doesn't necessarily mean it's just a blatant robbery. And I think this time what Bivol did very well is a lot of times when Artur was coming forward, hands up, he was trying to intercept Artur with his combinations and always being sure to put a statement in every single round, and was just staying on top with his footwork, staying light on his feet while Artur was backing him down. And his defense is just so incredible with that guard he has, and with him being so light-footed, he was really making himself a hard target to hit. And for sure Artur was still able to land some stuff to get through the guard. He really wasn't able to land anything super clean, and Bivol was just doing a good job for sure in the eye of the judges by throwing those combinations and the accuracy of it.
Yeah, and Bivol was landing, if you look at the punch stats, total punches, Bivol landed over 30% of his punches. Meanwhile, Beterbiev landed 17.5%. So the accuracy difference, how accurate Bivol was, Beterbiev threw over 140 more punches than Bivol, but Bivol landed about 50 more punches than Beterbiev, was just more accurate, had a lot of great combinations, and outlanded Beterbiev in the majority of the rounds. Early on he had success, then Beterbiev started to settle into it, then Bivol started to gain momentum back, and those last 3 rounds were pretty close. You could definitely give maybe the 10th and 12th rounds to Beterbiev. We're not saying this is a one-sided, not even close fight, but it was just not a robbery like some people are saying. Bivol definitely did enough to win this fight with the output, with the accuracy, the combination punching. Beterbiev did a great job, and you got to give him credit. Being almost 40 years old and out throwing Bivol, such a high output, and he always just came forward, was taking control of the center of the ring, which Bivol actually did a better job of in this fight a little bit. To not just let Beterbiev bully him and have too many amazing moments in the fight. Bivol was disciplined. That high guard whenever Beterbiev would come close, the footwork, I feel like that's what kind of made the difference. Bivol's footwork, his elusiveness, how he was able to get around the ring and land combinations was definitely a key factor in him actually winning this fight and it not being a robbery.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's not like we're saying Beterbiev didn't have his fantastic moments. Definitely a lot of his ring generalship, always walking forward, staying in the middle of the ring. And as well, that's where he found most of his success, when he was able to get Bivol against the ropes more, and Bivol wasn't really in the center of the ring. Artur was able to open up more. There was less risk of the combinations from Bivol. But at the end of the day, I'd say the judges just saw consistently that Bivol was able to do more with what he had, land and more accurately, was the one that was hitting the more emphatic punches, more impactful punches, and he was staying consistent to throw throughout the entire round and making sure there wasn't really dead spaces within rounds that he wasn't throwing significantly. And regardless, still a very, very close fight between two of the best fighters of this generation, two elite guys. And when you're this elite with this type of style matchup, it's hard for these guys to hurt each other or even stop each other, and that's just not going to happen, which is what we saw, regardless of how powerful Beterbiev is and how good his shots are. But here we just saw a beautiful display of boxing and two elite guys in the rematch, both currently 1-1, and it will be interesting to see where both of them go from here as well.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I feel like Bivol did even better in the rematch in the first fight, because he's already been in there with Beterbiev. There was this question in that first fight, how is he going to deal with the power, the pressure, the pace that Beterbiev sets, and how he stops all of his opponents. Up until that point, everyone was knocked out or stopped by Beterbiev, and Bivol was the only one to take him to the distance. So he's already been in there with Beterbiev. He knows how he fights. He knows he could take some of those shots. He knows he can move around the ring. And now it's not like he gave him less respect. He was definitely very mobile, but he just knew he could stand his base a little bit more, and that's what he did. He did take a little bit more risks in this fight than the first fight, which is really what I feel like won him it. He was sitting down on some punches, even countering when Beterbiev would get over aggressive and overthrowing some shots, planning the right hand counters. Bivol was fighting great, and his head movement and his movement in general was just very, very high level. You got to give credit to both guys. Beterbiev, if he was in his prime, like we're talking about a 39-year-old Beterbiev, if he was 33 years old and had the same physical ability as Bivol does now, maybe this could be a different fight. It's unfortunate we never really got to see them go at it a couple years back when both guys were still at the top of the division, but regardless, we're seeing this fight now. Two high-level fights between them, and we could possibly be seeing a trilogy. And what a great rivalry this has been, but just not a robbery. It doesn't really make sense at this caliber of a fight. When you look at the punch stats, when you look at the fight, when you look at how Bivol was landing his combinations, I could maybe see a draw. It really is subjective, but I felt like Bivol definitely did great work in this fight early on. Towards the end, he stood his base a little bit more and he knew what he was in there with. I feel like he definitely had a better performance than in the first fight, and Beterbiev wasn't stealing the rounds as much in this one as he did in the first one.
So with that being said, these are the reasons why we think Beterbiev versus Bivol 2 was not a robbery. But let us know down below if you would like to see a trilogy match between these two warriors. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and click on the video on the screen for more punch talk.